and welcome to Solar Power World Solar Speaks Live, powered by Unirac at Solar Power International 2016. I'm Kathy Zip, and today we're speaking with Dora Nakafuji, Director of Renewable Energy Planning at Hawaiian Electric Company. And Dora and her team have developed utility programs that are being studied and replicated all across the country. So we're really thrilled to have her here with us today. So thank you for being here, Dora.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, cool little tidbit that I was reading about you. I understand you have a PhD in aeronautical mechanical engineering, which sounds very sophisticated. So you designed airplanes and you worked in the airline industry a little bit at an airport or as an airline director. So how is working in the airline industry influenced what you do now in solar?
Well, I think there's a lot of synergies in working for an airline which has a fleet of airplanes you have to take care of.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, you got to get the planes out on time.
Yeah.
And then the solar industry, I think a lot of the stuff that we do as a utility, because Hawaiian Electric is a utility in Hawaii, we operate a fleet of substations and wires and deliver power to the homes. And so all these different PV systems, they're kind of like individual solar generators out there, right? So like the planes coming in. So we have to make sure that they are coordinated on the grid, they're delivering power when we need it. And so right now, with a lot of PV on our systems, on our electric system, we have to do more to see it and to manage it. Just like our traffic control has to manage planes.
That's so interesting. Well, that's definitely applicable. So the reason why I wanted to interview you was that you were actually chosen as one of our 2016 Innovators and Influencers, and SEPA's president, Julia Ham, wrote a really nice piece about you for the issue. And in it, she wrote about how you started working at Hawaiian Electric in 2009, before the state's solar boom. And then you saw the need, even then, for the utility to have a range of data-driven tools to maintain grid reliability, which you helped develop. And now the state is pushing for 100% renewables by 2045, which is really amazing. So we hear a lot about the Hawaiian solar market in the news, but I'm just wondering what it's like to have witnessed its growth and challenges that come along with it so closely. Does it feel like your baby?
Actually, the solar industry's boom, it really took off when I started actually it started differently on each of the islands.
Okay.
And so I'm on the island of Oahu, which is our largest load island, meaning it's not the largest land. Big Island's the biggest.
But largest power needs?
Largest power needs, right. So what ended up happening was we saw some of these impacts of distributed PV and variability on our smaller islands. So our team, Renewable Energy Planning, we actually go to all of our islands. That's actually a lot of fun.
Okay, I bet it is. Yeah.
So we got to work with our sister utilities, Hawaiian Electric Light Company, as well as our Maui Electric companies.
Okay.
And worked with all of them, and they had already been, contending with some of these things already. So it's definitely not my baby. What's going to happen? But it dawned on us that we needed ways to be kind of communicating what's out in the distribution side back to our operations people.
Yeah.
And so that allowed us to kind of be more creative, kind of our artistic side, and we came up with some visualization tools that allowed us to take the data that's coming in from all these systems, from the solar and the wind data that we were already collecting. So we put out a lot of sensors, and we got that data back, and that gave us a lot of knowledge and insight on what the fuel that's driving the solar systems, and also the winds that's driving the wind systems, how much there was, and what you had to work with. Right. So we needed that visibility, and that's really what kickstarted it. Back in 2009, I joined the company. The Department of Renewable Energy Planning was actually created back then, and it was in response to the Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative. So it was a really exciting time for Hawaii, and right now people tell us that we're on the bleeding edge, and I don't like to bleed, so I'd like to stay a little bit ahead of the proactive edge. How's that?
Yeah, like the leading edge. Yeah, exactly. I think that's
Yeah.
more appropriate, right?
Yes.
But do you look back and are you just kind of like, gosh, like, we've just come so far?
I can't even believe that it's been almost 7 years,
Yeah.
and it just feels like it's just flown right
Just gone by, yeah.
And a lot of things have come from it. And when I go back and look at what we've done and what's out in the field, I mean, I have an incredible staff that's been helping to get these things out, and I think that's the main thing is they all have a passion for this,
Right.
and they see the need and they make a connection, and then if we can collaborate with the vendor partners and on their technology, and they can help us better understand what their resources can do, I mean, the magic happens after that. Yeah.
Well, that's so wonderful. Congratulations on everything that you and your team have been able to accomplish so far. And I mean, it's really been a great example for the rest of the industry. I know that Julia wrote that you see one of the biggest challenges for utilities as changing their internal culture, among other things, and that getting to Hawaii's 100% renewables goal will mean the emergence of a new kind of utility with maybe some different characteristics or different way of thinking, one built on collaboration and an understanding of how customers use and manage energy. So I'm just kind of wondering, in your own words, can you tell us more about what you think utilities across the country need or need to change, or their mindset? What are your comments on that? It's kind of an open-ended question, but what do you think is important there?
Well, I mean, every utility is slightly different, but I think because utilities come from a very grounded reliability infrastructure, there is always a natural hesitancy to change quickly. And in this arena, I think the technology changes are so fast that we do need to be more aware of what's out there. Not necessarily just change out our whole system all at once. Because some of these technologies, you gotta still, I call it utility proof still, the technology, because they're still evolving.
Sure.
But I call them the vendor kind of partners, the ones that are willing to develop things with us and work with us to get their systems and their devices onto our grids. They're the ones that are going to help us together be more successful.
To evolve, right.
So to me, I feel like as long as we maintain that spirit of collaboration, we'll attract the right people with different backgrounds, because right now it's not all about one major, and a lot of it, people usually think if you work at a utility you have electrical engineering background.
Yeah.
I'm an aeromechanical.
Yeah, you have your airline experience.
Yeah, and so that background actually gave us a lot of kind of an outside looking in perspective, and helped us relate in different ways that the traditional utility might have in the past never needed. Because if you talk about wind and solar, they're a completely different animal compared to our traditional generation.
Absolutely.
So you need different sets of tools, you need a different way of thinking, you need different skill sets to actually integrate it. And we just recently were awarded the US DOE Sunshot Program, the Seams for Shines grant.
Okay.
And it's about seamlessly integrating all these customer resources that are just developing like wildfire right now. Everybody's adopting new things and wanting to try new technologies. We're integrating that information set into kind of our traditional backbone, so that our traditional backbone can grow and evolve and learn and be smarter as we begin to transform the grid.
That's so wonderful. I mean, really, the rest of the country is really learning from the work that you and your team and the state have done. So that's wonderful things going on there. And I think that wraps up this edition of Solar Speaks Live at Solar Power International. I do want to thank you, Dora, for being with us. We really appreciate it. It's been really cool to hear your experience and where you see utilities going in the future.
Yeah, and I have to thank Julia for making this opportunity happen. Thank you.
Julia, you picked a good one. You picked a good interview. So be sure to stop by throughout the show to see more interviews with solar experts, and just thank you so much.